Now I remember when I officially wanted to become a fucking chef was basically it was like there was this Chinese chef, and his name was Yan Can Cook, and he would come on KQED. It was Channel 9. It was free. It wasn't no cable bullshit. It was just like free. This guy would come on. It's Yan Can Cook. His name was Yan Can Cook, and he would come on the show. All my friends would be banging on my door. They'd be like, "Come on, come out. We're gonna play. We're gonna do fucking GI Joes, Legos, whatever the hell you want to do." And I was like, "Nah, man, I gotta watch this show." Like he's, "Oh, what show? It's Saturday morning, man. Like what show you doing? You know, like you doing the Cartoon Network or it wasn't even Cartoon Network. Shit, it was like Hanna-Barbera or whatever." And I'd be like, "Nah, man, I gotta watch this chef on TV, you know." And chef was Yan Can Cook. So what I would do is I'd just like for a half hour just bug out on this Chinese chef, cutting with the cleaver. And I was like automatically I was like, dude, this is what I want to do. I want to buy a cleaver. You'd always like at the end of the show, yo, we were poor as fuck, right? And it was like at the end of his show, he'd always have this at the end of the credits, it would be like, you know, you can go to China for like $3,000. And, you know, it's all paid expenses. You go there, you hang out with chef and you just like do your thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So I'd like try to save up my lunch money and stuff. I probably got to like $50 or whatever. But yeah, I never made it to fucking China. But I was like, dude, that guy was like, that was that's when I knew I wanted to be a chef. Like a real deal, carry a fucking knife, chop the fucking chicken up, do your thing. And I don't know. I think that's when I decided in my brain like that would be something I would love to do. My grandmother and my grandfather had one of the first Mexican, like legit Mexican restaurant in San Jose, California. Some of my earliest memories of food was, you know, being with my grandfather, Santana. Just him experimenting with different types of food constantly, preserving his own olives, raising his own snails. I've been inspired a lot by just being around the family. It just has to be all the males in my family. They were just always surrounded by food, fishing, eat right there, the fresh fish outside, just, you know, whatever nature handed us. You know, my grandfather would always have like minor lettuce, just baskets picked, so we'd eat, you know, we'd forage for our food. I actually worked in Saratoga when I was like 10 years old. You know, it wasn't really work, but it was like more babysitting than anything. And it was across the street from what would be one of the Michelin star restaurants that I would work at in the future. So it was kind of surreal to be in that area, working at this Mexican restaurant, one of the first Mexican restaurants in Saratoga, and then, you know, going professional and then training under, you know, a Michelin star chef. I was born on the east side of San Jose. It wasn't nice at all. I mean, every day was it was a grind. You know, my dad was out and about doing his thing, you know, wasn't really behaving a lot. So, you know, my mom had to take care of a lot of business, and in order for her to do so, she had to work a couple jobs. Yeah, I definitely think you have to have a survivor type of mentality. You also have to have that ability to be aware of the dangers around the corner at any given time, you know what I mean? So growing up, you know, being on your toes, having your head on a swivel, also the attitude in the kitchen too. Sometimes, you know, like you're about to handle business, you know, that's the same thing. Like that's the same thing out there, the same thing here, you know, like survival mode. Michael Mina is probably the greatest restaurateur that ever walked this earth. Basically, they came out of a restaurant called Aqua, and it was in San Francisco. It was a renowned restaurant, and it made culinary history. And going in culinary school, I always heard of this restaurant, people trying to stage there, people trying to work there, this and that. One of his first ventures in the South Bay was Arcadia. The way I got there was I was working at a Italian restaurant making pasta, and the chef there was he basically said that I can't teach you anything anymore. Like, this guy, Michael Mina, is coming in, he's gonna open up this restaurant, I think you should work there. One of the first mentors that I've ever had, like serious mentors I've ever had, was a chef named Stephen Fretz. He probably was the most fucking intense, crazy chef that I've ever worked with. People were dropping like flies, like fucking flies. Knife kits just left right there on the line, just out, pieced out, like done. You know what I mean? Like left their equipment, probably walked away from the industry. I think every day that I worked at Arcadia, I threw up in the bathroom before I went to work, every day. Every day. Yeah, I was just nervous as fuck. This was my first big break. It was a huge deal to work side by side with these people, you know? It's like these were culinary giants. You want to be seen, you know? And it's hard to do that. It's hard to do those in that initial environment. It's hard to shine. Not fucking up is a way of shining, or not embarrassing yourself is a way of shining. I put a lot of pressure on myself. This is their food, so I don't want to be blamed for messing up. It could ruin your career later on. So I was prepping out some of my mise en place in the back. You know, I'm just cutting up tomatoes, and I think I looked up for a split second at the time. I looked at the time, and then I fucking crunched my nail, and it came like completely off. Like I was like sawing, and it just went, and it hit an artery, and the nail, I don't even know where the nail was at that point. I don't know what the hell happened. Probably used it. I don't know. But it came right off. And then right away I was like, holy shit, like I can't, what am I gonna do? Like, what am I gonna do? I can't be like, yo, I gotta go. My fucking finger's gone. You know, Michael's coming in. He's like, he's gonna work the line tonight. I can't not be there. It wasn't an option. You know, finger or not, it wasn't an option. It was like, this is your time. Like, you gotta go, you gotta shine, you gotta do something. So basically what I did was I got a towel, I taped the towel around it like so tight that it was like my finger at the end of the night was purple. So I just turned my finger, I just taped it up, put a glove on it. I just put a glove on it, and it was service time, you know? And I worked through that whole fucking service. It was busy as hell. But at the end of the night, I could just see my fucking hands swimming in this pool of plastic blood. And I mean, I went to the hospital after that. It was beyond any stitch or anything. It was like nail gone, finger exposed. I could feel the wind blowing. It was gone, you know? The only way to stop the bleeding was them to burn that shit off. That was the only way. That was it. The food went out. Food went out all right. It went out perfect too. I take up a lot of the attributes and the style of mentoring or teaching, and a lot of it was plates thrown at you or anger towards your way for not doing things right. A lot of yelling. So growing up, like I took a lot of that. Like I just was very, I was very abusive. I was very abusive on the line, you know, towards the cooks. Like, if you were fucking up next to me, I don't want you next to me because you're making me look bad, you know what I mean? Like, go find other work. I smashed fish in people's chests. I've thrown soup up against the wall. I made people eat rotten food if they were about to serve it. Launched people offline, telling them to get the fuck out of my kitchen. Culinary Academy, I mean, it laid the professional foundation. I got to experience certain equipment. You know, they give you your knife kit and things of that nature, but it's not the real world. Those are some interesting times, only because it was the first time we'd had wine tasting, which was basically wine drinking. And then they would usher you into the second term, which was the advanced level of all of those. But it just really was more of a huge fucking party with like a lot of expensive food. At the end of a 16-hour shift, when you're working 7 days a week, you fucking drink, you party, kind of let loose a little bit, or a lot. To be honest with you, a lot of the craziness that went on, I don't remember a lot because I was under the influence of alcohol and combined with the pressures of the kitchen. It was pretty crazy. My father was an alcoholic, and he passed away with cirrhosis of the liver, and that was a pretty big deal for me, basically. The man died in his bed, you know, and I was there with him apologizing for doing things that his body couldn't control, and me having to clean things up, like, you know, him looking at you in those eyes, like, you know, you don't forget that. You know, it was at that moment that I told myself, like, that's not what I want I don't want my children to go through that, and I don't want to go through that. You know, I didn't want his death to be in vain, basically. You know, growing up with an alcoholic father, you see a lot. You've been involved in a lot of things that shape you as a boy. You know, being pulled over with your father all messed up in the car kind of messes with you. Cops come into your house looking for your father because sideswiped somebody and then took off. Really messes with you a lot growing up, you know. And then there was obviously things that go behind closed doors due to alcohol, that it wasn't a good place to be. You know, I've lost some family members, I've lost some good friends along the way, you know, due to, you know, street violence. You know, my uncles were all in that lifestyle, and they lost their lives through addiction as well. But, you know, they're passed away, and, you know, like, you have two choices. You either follow in their footsteps or you try to do something different. And not wanting to be like your father when you grew up in those dark times, it really molded me. But then I turned out to be just as bad as he was. Yeah, I thought it was done. 2010, I decided to check myself into rehab. When I decided not to drink anymore, I thought I was done with this industry because it was pretty much synonymous. Drinking and then being in the kitchen or being a chef, or what it was that I thought being a chef was all about, that I felt like drinking was a huge part of it, you know, being a little bit shy also, or not being like super comfortable in my own skin, so to speak. I always compensated for, I just always compensated with the drinking. So I figured once I was done drinking, I was like, that's it, my life is over, my career's over, you know, like I can't do this, because it was too much of a temptation, you know. It was always there. It was always available, it was always complimentary, it was always a gift, it was always a celebration, it was always not a celebration, it was just always something. After I was out of rehab, I basically decided to give it up. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Not working in the kitchen, it really messed with my mind a lot, you know. I really wanted to be a part of food, I wanted to be associated with food, so it was a challenge for me to find something that I couldn't thrive in, you know, without that temptation. So I decided to hook up with a guy that was doing a food truck at the time. So this is what I did. What I basically did was I went from the food truck that had no alcohol, and that was a good step for me. Then I went into another place that basically, you know, I asked for the day shift, and a lot of the mischief, all that bullshit like happens at the end of the night. So I asked for a day shift. I was like, listen, get back in this restaurant. I want to do the day shift. Does it make sense? You know, I'm not tempted, you know, I get in, I get out, that's it, do my thing. So once I finished that, I felt like, damn, like I think maybe, you know, I think I can start doing other things. I think I can start doing nighttime. And I know that sounds kind of odd, but it was a pretty major step in my life, basically. You're looked at a certain way when you don't drink in this environment, in this industry. I didn't want people to know that I wasn't drinking. I was really embarrassed being sober. I was embarrassed telling people. I thought people couldn't accept that, so I hid it. I hid it a lot. Right now, as it stands, is probably one of the things I'm most proud of. So I let people know right off the bat that I'm a recovering alcoholic, and that, you know, I had checked myself into rehab. A lot of people are surprised, like they're like, whoa, what? And they are supportive, you know, like they're like, that's awesome, that's amazing. So I really build off of those moments, and they ask me a lot of questions like how long and was it easy, and it opens up these doors and these conversations of like how it came to be and how I'm able to not drink anymore. It's a positive experience. And a lot of the people that are coming up, like they think drinking also is synonymous, or they also think that that's something that they need to do. You know, I just wanted to make sure that people like understand that it's possible to stay sober and work amongst the best, you know, people in the world. It is possible. You know, I guess some people could say that I'm an addict to my job too. Like I'm addicted to what I do. So by nature I have that. But you know, through people that support and love me now, they help me see that balance is super important. My motivation is both the families, basically. My family here and my family outside of work. I value time with my family now. I value time with my fiance. I value the memories, the positive memories being created, and just learning to be a better father and person. And people in the restaurant keep my passion alive. Their eagerness, when you look at them, they have that wide eye. They're excited, they're ready to go. You know, they're listening to everything that you're saying. You know, that keeps me passionate about what I do. I train some people, and they've grown comfortably within their own environment. And to me, like that, I don't know, I can't explain that. I can't really put that into words, how happy that makes me feel, you know? It's funny, but you know, this will probably be my 8th opening, and that's pretty much what I've done my whole career, is open restaurants for other people and helping them build their dreams a little bit, and that's always rewarding and fulfilling for me. So when it's all said and done, like I definitely want to, you know, have my own place, but you know, this is home for me now.